So these are the two kits I'm going to test. You've got the Autoglym one on the left, which is €36, and then the Meguiars one on the right, which was €33, I think, or just shy of €33. I don't know which one is best. I've never used any headlamp restoration kits at all before. I need to use it on the one on my car, but the one I'm going to test them on to compare them against each other is this mini headlight here. It's an R50 mini headlight. It's filthy dirty. I don't know what it's like underneath all that green stuff, but we'll give it a wash and a clean, and then we'll stick a bit of tape down the middle and clean each half and see which one comes up best. Right, let me see there. So I've masked up the chrome because I might use this light again. Got a line down the middle. This left side here is going to be Autoglym, and this right side here is going to be Meguiars Headlight Restoration. The reason for these two is because they're the only two that Halfords near me sells. So I want to know which is the best kit. Hopefully this test will tell us.
So I'll open up the Autoglym and see what's in there first.
Get a bit for a drill there. Drill. Got a pad, polishing, I'm guessing. And the various grades of glass paper. Headlight restoration compound as well. 3000, 2000, some 1500s, some 800s in there, some 800 papers, and a cloth. So I'm going to use an electric drill for this, just for the more even revs, and I'm going to start off as it says here with the P1800 thing on the backing plate there. It starts off dry. It does say to use wet later, it starts off dry, so I'm just going to go over on the left hand side here and we'll see. Yeah, I don't think that's up to the job at all. Right, I might just go with a 4 to get going, followed by a 6, and then I might use because the 800 just doesn't seem up to the job, especially with the heavily oxidised lens like this. I'm going to take this off for a sec, and I'm going to remask it in a second because this is just falling off now anyway, so I'm going to dry this off. Go with the 8 again to see if there's any benefit in that. Let it dry it. Feeling very smooth now. Still not great on this side, but it is a lot smoother than it was. And the left hand side is already more buffed out than the right hand side. So they both had 4 and 6. But this one's had 8 afterwards. Very smooth now. So that's 1500 I'm going to whack on there now. I don't know if you can see that now. That's the difference between 1500 used on that side and that's 600. It's the highest that got. So big difference there. Okay, I'm just going to take off this 1500. Just pull the Velcro pad down so it doesn't pull it off with it. Right, that's it. So now it's a 2000s. It's a 2000 pad here, and this one it says to use wet. So it says wet the pad and wet the area, and then every time it dries out, go again. I'm going to pull that 2000 pad off. I'm going for 3000 pad now. Same story, I'm going to wet the pad and then wet the area, just keep the area wetted. That is the difference between 3000s I've just done now, and that's still on, I haven't touched that from the 600 hand wet and dried I did earlier, but that's 3000s and it does look a lot more translucent, it looks a lot better. And we'll leave that side to do the Meguiars, but this is the Autoglym here, and definitely already looks a lot better. So now I'm going to polish it. Polishing it's the next step. Put it on the pad. and then you dab it on the area you're going to do it. So I'll use a cloth that came with the kit just to use all the stuff that they included. Alright, so I'm not going to show you that, I'm going to wait till the final reveal. This is the Meguiars now, so I'm just going to have a look and see what's in this kit. Okay, so they provide their own little woolen mop there, or a big bottle of that stuff, right? Okay. Quite stingy on the pads now, so 2 pads, it looks like it's 1, 2, 3 and 4 stages there, and then obviously this bottle. This is now the Meguiars kit. Is slightly different in that you don't have grades of paper that go down, it's in 4 stages. Number 1's 1800 grit, number 2 is 2400 grit, number 3 is 3200 grit, and number 4 is 4000 grit. Alright, so you basically work your way through these, keeping them wet as you do so. So you wet this, and you wet the lens there. So this is number 1. So that's number 1 done. Now this is number 2. This one is up and down. Three. Three's another side to side one. Alright, this is an up and down one. Still, you can see it's still hazy. So according to the instructions in the Meguiars stuff, that is going to buff out. Let's find out. Right, now I'm going to use the Meguiars, the Autoglym cloth for this, just to have the finish the same. But I can already see that I don't think that's as good. I don't think that's come up just as well at all. Now, I probably didn't spend as long really on each of the stages, maybe it didn't even be longer on each of the stages, but the tiny little pads were not very good. So look, let's take that off and have a look at what we got. You can see where the line was up the middle, that's how filthy it was. And then to my mind, that's come up an awful lot clearer on the Autoglym side than it has on that side. Now, I suppose the difference between the Autoglym and this is, at every stage you were using a drill. At every grade of paper you were using a drill, and their grades of paper started much coarser at 800. So you've got the drill doing all the donkey work, whereas here this is hand sanding, and I just got bored of doing it. And they're started at a much higher grade, 1800. So you got a massive difference there between what happens when you start with 1800. That's what happens when you start with 800. So to my mind, the Meguiars kit's only £3 cheaper, but the finish isn't as good at all. Now I'm sure you can get it as good with some serious elbow grease, but their stuff, their plastic, clear plastic cleaner and polish would be handy, you know. So that's a nice big bottle of that they have in the kit, and maybe that'd be handy just to top things up once you've got the lens clean. But definitely for me it is the Autoglym kit. That's by far the best kit. The less elbow grease and the better finish, but a lot more work than they let you know. So masking tape comes straight off. That's a disaster. You need very sticky masking tape. You need to maybe go 3, 4, 5 deep when you put it on as well. You're going to find it hard to get into all the nooks and crannies, all the corners. In a straight comparison between the 2 kits that they're currently selling in Halfords in the UK and Ireland, the Autoglym's the better kit.